Hey everyone, thank you for tuning back into another video of Backwoods Bassin. Today's video is a little bit different. We went out graphing and we're going to show y'all where we think some bass will go when the pressure gets turned up, when the heat gets turned up. It's been extremely hot. It's been in the 90s here and they've been pushing out, wanting to get cooler. Not only that, we just had a 3-day tournament of over 600 boats in it. So they've seen everything, they're tired of it, they just want to go rest, they want to recuperate, and so we're going to have to get in some spots that's not so obvious, and we're going to have to use our graphs and our Navionics to try to locate some of these spots. The Navionics app is, we like to call that sometimes doing our homework, because we can do that at home or do it wherever we're at. We look on that app, and like we did in this video, we just look for some hard bottom. And when you're looking on the Navionics app and you're just strolling through there, most of it's yellow, but when you come across the light brown and maybe sometimes black, that is your hard bottom. That's your rocks. That's the, and sometimes you'll see where people have selected to when they drop a pin on there, they've selected to put it out to the public. So you may be strolling through there and see an icon of a fish, and you go over and click on that, and it may say a brush pile or a good ledge, a sandbar, maybe a shell bed, whatever them people's marked on there, and that'll also give you another spot to fish at different times. But this spots we was trying to look for today is when they're going to be a little bit deeper in the rocky structure, and these you'll notice on the down imaging, it's mostly 9 to 12 foot, but what you don't see is it's on a ledge. The ledge will drop off, and them fish can push in there to feed on crayfish or worms or different things. Then they can push back out, and there's no pressure, there's no heat. It makes a really good place for them to pull up. Some of the humps that was in there they come up to 9, 12, 13 foot. And then between the humps, it would drop down to 19 to 21 foot, and they just would cruise through there, and then they drop back down on the ledges. There was one tree in there, and that would be a good place to look for some fish as well. Another good thing about the Navionics app, it'll track you as you're going up and down the river, so you can follow it on your phone when you're heading to that spot, and you can pinpoint where you want to stop at, where you want to troll up to, right way you don't throw the waves on the area and spook the fish out. You can kind of sneak up on them, and you can drop that pin, go back and fish out later, and it can turn summer into success. Summer's when a lot of anglers start to struggle because it's not obvious no more where the fish are. When you're just sitting there in your boat looking up or looking down the river, sometimes it's almost overwhelming because you have all that water to fish, but you don't know where they're at. So we're trying to make it a little easier, not only for us, but for y'all as well, and to locating some structures, locating some spots, what to look for, what the fish look like on the graph, and that kind of stuff. So we're using the Navionics to get us to where we think might be some good stuff, and then we put the trolling motor in the water and we use our Garmin Striker. It's a 7-inch screen, and it has side imaging and it has down imaging, and I have it set to 25 foot on each side of the boat, so I can scan 50 foot at one time. And I have that set on 800 in my settings on my Striker, because that will show more detail of when you're closer to the structure. That will show the more detail of the structure. You'll be able to see the shade, you'll be able to see the fish in it real good. And if you're out just searching, then you can put your settings on 400 and it will show you more, but it will show you less definition. So when you pull up and get close to what you want to fish on, you want to be sure that's set to 800 in your settings on your Garmin Striker. And the largemouth, the spotted bass, the things that we're looking for, they will set in a formation. When we're cruising through there and we start to see white dots, little bitty white dots on our side scan, we can go back and actually scan over it with the down scan. And the thing you want to look for when you're down scanning is the fish, if they're horizontal and they're right around half an inch apart, then that will be a largemouth, spotted bass, some kind of bass, something we want to target. Now, if they're vertical, that's probably going to be a crappie, that's probably going to be a white bass or something like that, something we're not that interested in. We want to go out here and become a better bass angler, and that's some key things that's going to help us to do that. And if y'all have any questions whatsoever about the video, just drop us some comments down below, and we'll be more than glad to help y'all with anything that we can. And at the end of the video, we're going to go over, talk about some baits that we're going to be using in these areas to catch these largemouth in. And you got to remember, it's going to be hot and it's going to be pressure. That looks like maybe some bass right in here, some kind of fish anyway. We're gonna go try to find us a few more other places. We can find some little bitty white dots like that. This other stuff you're seeing out here, these are rocks. Now here's some more. And there may be fish up on them rocks too. So we're going to find us a few different spots and we'll go back and forth and fish on them. There's some more little white dots right in there. There may be fish. We'll be back to check them. There's some in that rock pile. Maybe some fish there. We'll be sure to come back there. Here's just some more right in here. We got these. So we're gonna have a lot to fish. It's been really hot. These fish are pressured. Looks like a few more white dots right in that little rock pile. There's a tree or some kind of structure that's out here, and that's right under the boat. So that was the graphing video, guys. I hope y'all liked it. Like it, subscribe if you haven't. And some of the baits that we feel like would be very successful in areas like this would be the wobble head. It has a football shaped head on the front of it. You can put your crawl trailer on it, whatever you think works best for your area. And a lot of times we say things like that and we don't really mention colors that much, is because our natural colors here in East Tennessee might not really be what really works for you on your home lake or your home river. And what's natural here may not be natural there. And that does make a difference. And that can, especially with June coming right around the corner, that wobblehead is a very good lure to be throwing in some of these rockier spots. Another good bait to use is a worm, whether it be a Senko style worm, a ribbon tail worm, either one. You can always pick up some extra bites on a worm. Sometimes you don't catch the biggest fish in the group, but you will catch multiple fish using a worm. And when we want to try to pick up some extra weight, we like to always flip a jig. So that's something to keep in mind when you're on a school of fish. You want to try to pick out that bigger fish that's in that school. You always throw a jig in there, and more than likely, a lot of the times, you will catch that bigger fish. And you can always use a fluke in these areas. That will be good to do. You can throw a Texas rig crawl in these areas. You can throw a brush hog in these areas. And brush hogs, they're a big profile bait and they have action on them. And as I mentioned earlier about the colors, our colors might not work for y'all. Y'all's colors might not work for us because it's not natural in the area. But one thing to keep in mind is when the sun goes down and it gets dark, always choose your darker colors. That will always be more natural. In the dark would be a dark or a black color to the fish. And it's hot, the pressure's on, and sometimes you do have to downsize. Now, we don't downsize often at all because we like to try to catch that bigger fish. And a lot of times it takes a bigger bait to catch a bigger fish. But when it's like this, sometimes you will have to try a Ned rig out or a shaky head worm or something like that. And you can downsize that shaky head worm and pick up some extra fish. So I hope y'all like this video. Like it, subscribe, help us grow. And I'm hoping if this information has helped y'all any at all, let us know, drop us some comments, go get a bow and you pole.